Good morning, everybody. Wednesday, October 28th. A couple more days and she's Halloween time. Halloween time is rolling right up to us, so get ready for all the Halloween. Well, I don't even know what's happening this year. I'm hoping Halloween is a thing this year, just because, obviously all the BS that's going on. Anyway, we're going to get right to it, you guys. It is IOPPS morning show, and today it is Wealth Wednesday, so looking forward to this. Anyway, today's quote, October 28th, 2020. It's not easy, but it's simple, by Eric Thomas. Pretty much, I think what today we're going to talk about, it's not easy, but it's simple. It's just, you got to do it. You just got to do it. It's hard. It's like, losing weight. It's simple. The idea is simple. You just got to do it, but it's freaking hard. It's that process. Anyway, you guys, don't forget to check out IOPPS.ca for your daily jobs. Also, my nephew, I know I share him all the time, Eston's Crazy Corn on Facebook for your popcorn. If you guys are living anywhere in Saskatchewan in a community and you want us to make you a big package for your community, get a hold of your chief and council or your tribal council and inbox us. We're getting big orders from even northern Alberta. So yeah, Eston's Crazy Corn blowing up, man. Blowing up. So proud of my nephew. Also, Canine Action Project on Facebook. Check them out. Also, Save the Res Dogs on Facebook, Instagram, and SaveResDogs.com. And our draw, which is canceled for this Thursday, is going on for November 5th now, nearing that $17,000 and $18,000 mark. So Chase the Ace Treaty 6 draws on Facebook every Friday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. Anyone across Canada can play, so get at us. Also, I had a fact. Because we're talking about money, I had a funny fact. I don't know, I can't find it. Whatever. Find it after it. Anyway, you guys, it is Wealth Wednesday. We're going to be welcoming back our man there, Nate Edwards. Good morning, Shannon. Good morning. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning. So yeah, we're going to be bringing back Nate here, so we're going to get right to it. Let me see here. Boom. Hello, Nate. Can you hear me? Oh, you got it on mute? There you go.
I got it. Good morning.
Morning. All right, guys, like I said, it's Wealth Wednesday here, and Nate is our wealth guy. I was going to say our wealthy guy. And every Wednesday he comes on
Incorrect.
and he spits out some knowledge so we can hopefully be richer by the time we retire.
Yeah, the idea is to definitely get to retire. That's the sad truth is these days the people that aren't prepared work a lot longer than they should.
Yeah, man. Like I noticed that, like that you see when it's just good, I guess. Because people, like when you're older, don't want to sit at home and just sit around and do nothing. But it's like, retire early so you can choose the jobs you want to do just for fun. I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and actually a lot of clients say that. They're like, well, I kind of enjoy what I do and I don't really want to retire. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's great, but you want to have the choice.
Yeah.
But like you want to, like for instance, I mean, if you're still doing this in 20 some odd years, you could stop doing your day job and just focus more on doing these and the stuff that you like doing. And everybody could do stuff like that.
Yeah, man, it would be nice. Just everyone wants that job where they're not going to work, but they are. But I mean, yeah, if you're forced to do a job because it pays you good and all this stuff, save up and then so you can quit that job and go work wherever you want just for fun.
Yeah, so I mean, most people do stop working as well, right? Like they do decide to hang out and golf and do whatever they want, but
yeah, only the smart ones that learn to invest early. So what we got on the docket today?
A couple things. Like I know we kind of busted in last week to talking about like RSPs if you're working tax free.
Yeah,
which I think we'll touch on that in a few minutes just because I think it's important. And then the other thing is I just wanted to touch on like how important it is to start putting money away as early as possible.
Yeah, so no matter what your age is, start investing. Like like it is. Like I said, it's the quote says it's not easy, but it's simple. In the end, it's just starting and then being consistent about it with anything in life. Especially putting away money. Even
Yeah,
when
and this
you're
is especially
even yeah,
true.
even when you're hurting like broke, it's hard not to touch that money because you know it's right there, right? It's like you can't touch it. You got to just kind of, if you can, suffer through that literally temporary little situation until the money starts rolling again from somewhere else.
Yeah, and I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. Because I mean, I started in the union for a long time, working in the
Yeah,
trade.
yeah.
And the nice thing about having a pension and stuff is that there's no option to touch it. It's locked in. You can't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even a thought. When times are tough, you just like your brain just has to come up with other ways to get by, and you always do. And then at the end, it's like, oh man, I'm so glad that wasn't available to me because I would have used it here, here, and here when times were really tough.
I remember I was in a situation saying, and you guys were going to get right to it. I just want to tell my story real quick. I was making like some stupid money and I saved, I think I had like 5 grand saved and like never gonna touch that because you think the road's gonna always be straight and ready to go. Yeah, I dipped into it and now it's gone. It's like it's so hard to working for tax free for many years. I transferred my pension to my bank.
Yeah, so I have a lot of clients, Quentin, that have done that. You just got to be careful what it's invested in at the bank, and just make sure that it's invested in a mutual fund and something that fits your risk profile. Those are the big things for me with those pensions that have been transferred. I actually have a number of clients because I work in Saskatoon from Dakota Dunes that are all in that same situation. They worked at the casino for 5, 10, 15 years or at the golf course at Dakota Dunes. And they all had those pensions. And when they left, they had to move them somewhere. It's fine to have transferred it. You just want to make sure that that it is invested. And feel free to send me an email, shoot me a statement, and I'll read it over with you quick and tell you what I think about it.
Sorry, I X myself out. Good morning, is the money taxed? I totally missed the conversation. I X myself out by accident.
It'll depend on the pension. So if you're working tax free, sometimes they have them set up so they're a tax free lira, and in that case, it would not be taxed when it comes out. And then other times they're just set up like a normal lira, and in that case, it would be taxed when it comes out. So I'd have to see the statement before I'd be able to answer that question because some are and some aren't.
I missed what we were talking about, but I'll watch the video after there.
Quentin was just asking. He said he has a pension, but he moved it to the bank, which is not a big deal. Like I said, I have lots of clients that have moved their pension so that I manage them.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea, but he was asking if it's taxed when it comes out. They can set up what's called a tax-free lira if you're working tax-free.
Oh, okay.
But some of them aren't. Some of them are still taxed. So you have to. It's a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, let's get into that little thing that you can show us there.
When I get the glare off this screen.
Oh, I removed it. Oops.
So this is like I was saying, this is the importance of starting early, and I think this graph and stuff shows it really nicely.
Yeah.
This is 4 different hypothetical people with names that match their attitudes. We have Eager Edward, Sally Staller, Larry Linger, and Franklin Frank.
Mm-hmm.
But the important thing to look at here is that the age they started putting money away and the difference in how much money they had to put in to get the same amount of money. Because Edward, Sally, and Frank all end up with around $320,000 when they retire. The difference is Edward starts at 22. He puts in $3,000 a year, which is only $250 a month. So I mean, it is a good chunk of money, but it's not like it's an unmanageable amount if you got a decent job and you're doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
He only invests for 15 years and then he stops. He never puts any more money in after that. He still ends up with 335,000 because it has that much longer to grow.
And you're saying, like, back we were talking last week, do not, if you're investing in RSVPs, don't do it if you're tax free.
Yeah, it's not worth it if you're working tax free. You're much better off to be using your tax free savings account.
So there you go. So like, if you're tax free right now, sorry, Nate, if you're tax free and you're investing RSVPs, don't. And maybe
RSPs.
RSPs, sorry, RSPs, RSVP, RSPs, and start putting your money into something like this.
But if you are if you are working and you are being taxed, RSPs are a great way to actually grow your money even faster, because the thing with RSPs that's important is what you do with the tax return when you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people will put money in RSPs, get the tax return, and they use that money, they spend that money, use it for day-to-day expenses. But if you put that money back into the RSP, you get a tax return again from it the next year.
Oh.
You can just cycle money through an RSP and compound it.
I always wondered how you guys did that.
So, I mean, they're very efficient saving strategies with RSPs. Like RSPs can be very, very useful, but they're just not necessarily worth it. I don't think if you're working tax free, you're not getting the advantage, and you're still gonna have to pay tax when it comes out.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this next guy starts 9 years later. He puts in the same amount, $250 a month, but he invests an extra 60,000, and he still ends up with the same amount just because he started 9 years later.
That's crazy.
But that's compound interest, man. When you earn that money and then you earn money on that same money next year, and it just continues like that. It's powerful.
And it's not that long. Like for anyone, if anyone's this young watching my show, if you are 22, man, 9 years is not that long. It goes quick, right? 9 years.
Oh
yeah,
man,
22 to 31.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily.
Oh, sorry, 15 years. I thought that was 9 years.
Yeah, he puts money in for 15 years. He stops when he's 36.
Oh, okay. I was thinking he stops when he's 31. So I was looking at that wrong.
But if you look at these two that are 41,
yeah,
like the guy that puts in the same 250 a month,
mm-hmm.
he only has 25 years to contribute, though, right? Because he's already 41, and he only comes out with 160.
And it's not only 161,000. It's $161,000, you guys.
Yeah, the thing you got to remember is we're talking about money that you're going to be using for the rest of your life once you retire.
Yeah.
So
hopefully 25 years, hopefully 25 years at 161,000 is actually worth something.
Well, that's inflation is the other thing to worry about. The other thing you do find is a lot of people end up invested in stuff that's really, really, really conservative.
Yeah.
And that's also an issue, because if you're not earning like a minimum of 2%, then you're not, your money is actually losing value. Things are getting more expensive faster than your money is growing.
Oh, yeah. So that's where you would come in, and, if they wanted to invest it in some high risk stuff, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we mostly deal with mutual funds. So even most of our aggressive funds are not insane.
Yeah.
They're always going to have a fixed income portion, or most of them, that's going to give you some diversity and a little bit of safety.
Yeah.
I guess we do have a couple funds that are like really aggressive. They have no fixed income, so basically just a group of different stocks. But we don't. The only time I kind of suggest those is Edward Eager could use those. He's got so much time left, and the markets do average 7%. just the stock market. Like that's what they average, is between 6 and 8% every year of growth.
So I think that's definitely something we need to get on the show is like someone that just dives in and that's all they deal with is stocks and all kinds of stocks, like right from penny stocks to the big stocks, to teach us how to do stock. Because you know what, that was something I've always been interested in, is dealing with stocks.
I'm going to be very, very blunt with you.
Yeah.
You don't have the spare time to be dabbling in the stock market.
Really?
No.
Wow. I'm just going off those commercials or the apps they send out there. I forget what they are, but
Commercials are incredibly dangerous sometimes.
yeah.
So, I mean, if somebody wants to invest in something aggressive and risky, then those mutual funds that I was talking about are where they should be. Let a fund manager pick what stocks to be in for you. It's worth it. It's worth it to
Well, I
not
know it. It would be nice to
guess.
even like nice to take like, from $250 to $1,000 and just, obviously that's a lot of money, but just take that money and just see what happens.
The issue with that, man, is that everybody that does that makes one wrong decision at some point and
Yeah. Because it is, I guess it's basically a crapshoot, eh? You're gambling your money.
I mean, it is and it isn't. There are people that make money at it. It's just that most of those people are people that trade for a living. Like, it's even if you had all day, every day to study it, which I mean, I have some clients that do have quite a bit of time, and as much as if they like to do that, what we do is we invest most of their money in mutual funds. They take a small chunk, couple grand, and they just do it for fun.
Quick
But
question.
again,
would you buy a house? I'm pretty sure that meant, would you buy a house with a windfall or stocks? So if you came into 25,000, let's say.
Oh, like as a down payment?
No, yeah. What would you do in today's market? I know there's a lot of people out there, and my buddy's one of them. He's like a big finance guy. He's not a finance guy. He's really frugal with his money, and he says, don't buy a house. It's a bad investment because you become house poor.
Yeah, if the windfall is only enough for the down payment, you got to be careful that you can easily afford the mortgage. So, I mean, if you can't, like, if you're stretching yourself monthly, that's just gonna create a pretty stressful situation in the long run. And also, the housing markets are kind of up and down the last bunch of years. They're also pretty volatile. Like, they're not as steady as they used to be.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, and again, I would suggest most people can't stomach with a large sum of money. They're not going to be able to stomach the ups and downs of being in like a hyper aggressive, just plain stocks or mutual funds. They're going to want to be in like a moderate aggressive or balanced, most likely.
So you're kind of really against stocks, eh? You're not
Not,
a risk taker with them.
I'm not against them. I just like you got to remember, man, when I advise somebody to do something, and it's got to be something that that has very little chance of blowing up in their face.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm never going to tell somebody to put their money into individual stocks because you can still get really good growth with a mutual fund. And when you buy a mutual fund, if you buy a really aggressive one, you're buying hundreds of stocks all at once, but you're buying some from Canada, some from the US, some from the whole world. You're buying some from the energy industry, some from the tech industry. You're getting a little bit of everything.
Stocks are pretty volatile, but is rental property, second home, a good investment?
Yeah, rental properties can be good investments as long as they're in a good area. And again, you can deal with the short term ups and downs like needed repairs and similar stuff to that.
Morning. I own stock and have done some self-investing, but only started after I reached financial security. Zero debt, own my own home, have well-padded emergency fund and cash to play with. It's high risk. It is important to have the rest of your financial life and safe in order. Yeah, that is true.
Yep. And the other thing I would say, like, if somebody's really, really, really interested, they want to do it themselves. There are good ways to do that as well. Like I would consider ETFs
What
and
is the
stuff like that,
ETF?
which it's an exchange traded fund. So, for instance, you could buy yourself like an S&P 500 ETF, and all it does is
What the hell is all that stuff?
so the S&P 500 is one of the stock markets. It's a U.S. market.
Okay.
And an ETF, what an ETF does is it just follows the market. It does whatever the market does.
Uh-huh.
So basically, they take every company that's on that market, and then they create a tiny version of that market
Oh, okay.
by buying the same percentage of stocks that are in the market, just less. So now, whatever the market does, this fund will mirror it. It'll do exactly what the market does.
But on a little version of it.
Yeah, and those can be like if people are really desperate to not work with an advisor and to save the little bit of fees and stuff,
Yeah.
that's where I would go.
So I'm getting so curious now about these stocks. What do you think we do? Like, I'll throw my own money in it and we go on like a stock thing on this and we can bring it up on the screen and we invest. What do you think?
I can't legally advise you at all on those.
Oh, really? No, like
Nope.
I mean my personal money.
No, and not only can I not, I don't want to.
Really? Well, no,
No.
I was gonna only put like $100 in and just see how volatile these stocks are.
You know what I've wanted to do with people for a long time that are always like, they want to make that extra bit of money by kind of gambling like on individual companies and stuff.
Yeah.
Is instead of putting real money in, why don't you try and pick stocks, and then in 6 months or a year, we'll see whether the stock market or my aggressive fund that I picked makes more money.
You can do that though, I think in real life, right? I think there's
there are websites where you can like literally play the stock market and like
money.
practice.
Why don't we try that? Can you do?
Yeah, you'd have to find. I have no idea what those sites are, but
okay, you guys. If you guys can find that site, I'm gonna look for it, where you can have fake money and play in the stocks. Because let's be honest, everyone's curious about stocks once in a while because you always hear these stories in Wall Street and all that. If you can find that website out there, we'll go on a little maybe 1 month thing and just see how stocks go.
Yeah, and it's tough to do 1 month too, man. 1 month's not long enough.
2 months?
Yeah, it'd have to be longer than that too. If you think about this is money you're investing for years and years and years, I think you got to wait 5 or 6 almost like minimum.
Oh,
you're just not getting a good example, really. Like it's almost not worth it to do it on such a short term. You can look at how volatile they are over a month or two, but to really compare growth, it's got to be longer.
Nate is killing my dreams, you guys.
Sorry, man.
It's hurting me here.
Well, the other thing to remember, I think,
people used to buy actual gold bars of diamond. Would you ever recommend something like this?
I wouldn't, but I see why people do it. Like gold, for instance, like same thing. People assume gold is so safe. In a way, it is, I guess, because it's never going to completely lose its value. Like I don't know if it would ever go to zero.
No, gold will always go up.
It hasn't though, man. It's dropped a ton over the last couple of years, up and down.
Really? Even like Bitcoin? Like Bitcoin
is a mess.
Yeah. But it's interesting, man. Like it's such an interesting thing, like, just where they're at.
It's super interesting. Like, I mean, I have no reason to follow it, and I still do just because I'm curious.
Right? Because man, I remember looking and reading about it in 2000. I think it was 2010 when it was only like 5 cents, and then seeing like 6-7 years later, it was $20,000 or something stupid like that. They said if you bought like $100 worth back then, you would be worth like 20 million or 50 million or something like that. Just stupid. Yeah. Well, here we go. Yeah, surely. Yes, the simulation would be interesting to see. It would. I think we should try it, just, and I know Nate can't advise it, but if it's just fake money.
Oh, we can discuss it if it's fake money for sure.
Okay, there you guys go. Oh, here it is. I think she found one. Investopia Simulator. There you guys go. I'm gonna get on that, and yeah, we'll try that.
The thing to remember, man, is that when I talk about like say I'm talking about a mutual fund, is it is literally a whole bunch of stocks. You're just getting to buy them,
one, right?
Yeah, you're getting to buy them as a group. And what's important is to be diversified.
Yeah.
Especially like if people want to go out and play with $1,000, that's all fine and dandy. My job is to make sure you're putting enough money away monthly and putting it in something stable that you get to retire. Because what I don't suggest is someone takes like 50K or 100K, enough that they actually could retire on it. Like if you look at that chart we were looking at, if somebody had a windfall or something and they could invest that at the age of 30 or the age of 40, that growth would be astronomical by the time they get to 60. And that's just, you don't need to make a ton of money real fast. You don't have to. Compound interest will do it for you over time.
And that's why I think look at Kate's like all on your side here. She's like, yes, Nate. I was just gonna say exactly what kind of Kate would said, like, you know, she looks like she knows what she was doing with her money.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'll answer that question too. And for sure she's not wrong. If you are gonna do that, if you are gonna take your $1,000 or $2,000 and play with individual stocks, like I said, I have lots of clients that do it because they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just don't. That needs to be money you don't need. You have to consider that money as like you're walking into the casino and you don't mind losing it. And I think that's the big difference between what I do and that.
I don't care who you are. No one can afford to gamble, regardless, even if it's like $100. That's what I tell. Okay, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's so imagine where you're sitting. That's my view on taking your money and putting it on individual stocks.
Did I just put my foot in my own mouth there, eh?
Because I've seen so many people that I consider to be really, really smart people do a ton of research, you know what I mean? And they explain it to you and you're like, yeah, it sounds good. But then something unexpected happens and those stocks go to crap. Like look at potash here in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Before, like years ago when I still worked in the trades, I had money in PCS and places like that. And then what year was that? 2012 when that Russian company decided to start undercutting PCS and nutrients.
Oh, I actually remember that. Yeah, there's a big
and potash has never recovered. Like it will eventually. It's a limited resource, right? Like it has to eventually recover. But if you had money in PCS or Agrium or any of those companies, like it's never gone back to what it was in 2010.
Man.
And nobody saw that coming. And every company can have an event like that. Like something random can happen out in the world and it just causes that one company to nosedive.
Man, yeah. But see, and this is exactly why we're doing this show, you guys. Like I said, I'm learning as you guys are through Nate here when he talks about being, you know, investing money and all this stuff. Like I am so bad with money. Like when I get it, it's just how I grew up, man. Like you grew up poor, you kind of just want to give it away and help and, you know, whatever. So it's like, I need to know this now because I'm just trying to understand the value of, and I know the value of money, but I really want to understand the whole value of it, how to, you know, invest like with people like Nate and stuff. So,
you know, one more thing, man, is like, I know, like I keep saying mutual funds are diversified, so they're more safe, but you shouldn't think too that there isn't the ability to create really good value in mutual funds. There still is. Like I have one specific client who moved a pension from my old union actually into me investing it because he left the union. We did get a little bit lucky, but I mean, we moved his pension kind of in March when the markets were kind of crashing due to COVID.
Yeah.
His pension is up almost 30%.
Even after COVID? Wow.
We moved it as COVID was already bad. So the markets were low when we bought low, right?
Oh, Yeah.
Well,
And that's what everyone was saying on the news. I remember in like March, April, like the stock people, while I'm trying to catch up on COVID, what's going next in the world, they were saying invest now because everything's just stupid cheap, like gas or oil, so it was.
yeah, and it was, and the thing is you don't have to go buy one company. You could still, when markets were really low like that, you could get into an aggressive mutual fund and you were buying little bits of everything, but everything was cheap because the whole market was down. So
Well, we
there was
should
a,
actually talk about that now because second wave is here and it's coming harder.
yeah, the markets are still flat right now, and they're still at like pre-COVID levels right now. They've just been kind of doing this for a bit,
Yeah.
up and down like a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you see shutdowns and stuff come again, it will be the time to put money in the markets. And my advice is you want it in something diversified. You want little pieces of everything. You do not want all your eggs in one basket.
One basket. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, hey, this was an awesome conversation. See, when we start talking about talks and everything, this is exactly why I brought him on because it's so nice to learn. We've used our time up, and definitely again next week I'm gonna start that fun stock thing, just so we can see what it's like to invest in stocks and all that, and yeah, see if Nate here was right or not. Well, of course he's gonna be right, but I mean, I know we're all curious about stocks, and we want to get into it. And really quick, can you answer this one?
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Penny stocks are basically companies that are starting out. So they're really, really cheap. What happens is like a company is starting out, they have an IPO and then they put out the ability to buy their stock to gain money to get their company going. But the problem with penny stocks is like, again, if you're just playing with it and you're hoping to make a couple $100, it's fine. But if what I explained happened to PCS happened, stuff like that happens in penny stocks way more often. It's very common for penny stocks to go to zero, the company busts and it dies.
Well, there you go.
So that's why they're so cheap, because they're very, very, very risky.
Yeah. Yeah, really quick. I like this. Let's have a contest. So you guys going back here really quick. I'm so into this thing, man. I wanna do it. Where's that? I can't find where she put it in the comments.
Investopedia simulation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the link where she put it. She erased it. Oh, there it is. You guys, let's have a contest. No prize. I'm not giving away anything. It's just gonna be bragging rights. Right there. Let's try that out, you guys. Investopedia. Did you bring it up on your screen?
Yep. Oh, you got to sign up though.
Oh, do it. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you do have to register as well.
Okay, I'll register. I'll check it out, and Investopedia, right there, investopedia.com. I'm gonna check it out and just see. I want to try it out, have fun, see what happens, and
yeah, my guarantee isn't that a mutual fund will beat you in a month, but I almost guarantee with you picking your own stocks within a year or two, the mutual fund I pick will for sure be ahead.
yeah, probably. I agree, man. It's like, you go to the casino, you could probably win lots right now, but long term, you're gonna go broke.
You're gonna have that one bad day, most likely.
Yeah, crying around. Okay, that's our time, man. We will see you, Nate, next week, next Wednesday. Awesome show again, man. I always enjoy these shows, and you guys, if you only tune in once a week and you want to, this is a good show, Wealth Wednesdays. Glenna here now. This one right here, Glenna, is on Tuesdays, and we're doing a cooking show. If you guys want to do it on Tuesdays, Glenna's doing a cooking show with us. That's it for now. We will see you tomorrow for Thursday's morning show. Thanks, Nate. See you.